is the one that unofficially I gave him. It was the 4th round because that was when Toney began to apply some body work.
Right.
But he couldn't sustain it from that point on.
Exactly.
And then the knockdown in round 3, the left hook, the indication that Jones not only a slick fighter that has some good moves in the ring, but he also has the capability of knocking a guy down.
That's right. The last person I remember knocking down James Toney was the southpaw Reggie Johnson, who went on to become middleweight champion of the world. But other than that, nobody puts James Toney on the seat of his pants. And this is a guy coming up from 60, Roy Jones Jr., to put a bigger man on the canvas. You know, Jones has the framework. Look, there's not an ounce of fat on him to also go up in weight in the near future. I'm not saying that that's what I recommend, but he could possibly do that. Look at the body fat on him. It's probably 1%.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. John Stewart scores the bout, 119 to 108. Glenn Hamada scores it, 117 to 110. And Jerry Roth has it, 118 to 109 for the winner by unanimous decision. And new super middleweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
I have to say, Joe, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the performance of Jones. And right before the bout, you asked me who I liked, and I told you Jones. And I really couldn't describe Toney losing the fight, but I just had the feeling that the guy that we knew very little about, that we'd find out more about him in this one, and we did.
Well, you know, Jones has got that real confidence, that real confident look to him. He's got that, and I've seen him before. You can't bet against a guy, an athlete that can fight. You can, you know, two fighters that are technically sound, it's a toss-up sometimes. But when you've got a real athlete that can fight, like a Pernell Whitaker, a Michael Nunn at that time, and a Roy Jones Jr., these are special guys. Muhammad Ali, a real athlete that do real improvisational stuff in that ring. They're hard to beat.
Larry Merchant about to get with the champion, Roy Jones Jr., the newly crowned IBF champion.
Congratulations, a terrific performance. Did you know from the first minute and a half that you were just too quick for him? Could you tell from the get-go that you were just too quick for him, Roy?
Yeah, I was much too fast for him. And I know that the weight he lost is going to be a difficult thing for him to handle. But first of all, I thank God for giving me the opportunity to come out and do the things I do. Owe all my praise to God. Thank my father and Coach Merck both for the terrific training that they've been doing throughout my entire career. And thank God for everything. I'm a happy man. Believe in God is all able, baby. It's all possible. We just have faith in God.
You mentioned the weight. What did you know personally about the difficulty he was having with weight?
Well, I come from 178, sometimes 180 to make 160. That's a very tough thing to do and fight 12 rounds. I'm a lot bigger than guys. Most times a lot faster, but it's tough when it's fat. And I wasn't fat. I just be thick at 178 most of the time. Yeah, man. Thank you, baby. Hey, good work. Man. Yeah. Hey, good work, baby. Hey. Hey.
You all right?
Hey, yeah.
He is.
Hey, yeah.
What's up, baby? You back? I'll be back.
Yeah,
I'll be back. James told we'll be back. Watch out, light heavyweight.
But yeah, and you know, it's a tough thing to do. And I commend him on how he made the weight, but I knew that he would be washed. I mean, you know, the weight would work.
Well, how did that play into your plans, knowing that he would be weakened?
Well, my hands are so fast, my feet are so quick, until all I had to do was box, move around the ring, box, not taking no stupid chances. But I do like to fight, so I sat down with him a couple of times because he's a warrior. And to beat the champ, you got to beat the champ. So I sat with him some just to show him that.
All right, you wanted to prove not just that you were quick and strong, but that you had something inside you a few times in the fight. Is that what you're saying?
That's right, exactly. That championship quality, that stuff that it takes to be a champion. I had to prove that I have that. Unlike other champions or other challengers who come in, challenge the champ, run from him the whole night. I never run from nobody the whole night.
Did he hurt you, daze you at all during the fight?
Never. He's a solid puncher, but you know, my chin is real tough. He caught me some good shots, but they didn't bother me at all.
Did you feel you had hurt him? Seriously?
Yeah, I hurt him a couple of times. I hurt him about 3 or 4 times in the fight. And he has a strong chin, I expect, though. So I got to give him that.
Does this make...
I did wrong, baby. I am the man.
Does this make up for soul finally? You've waited 6 years to get here, James. Does this make up for soul finally?
Right.
Roy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this makes up somewhat. Well, like I said, I just thank God I was healthy, able to get this far without any defeat. Thank God my hands stayed healthy throughout the entire thing. And, you know, James Toney was a wonderful champion. I stepped up, you know, took the challenge, had to do what I had to do. He'll be back. He's a great fighter.